Hello, my name is Brianne Gray. I'm a criminal defense attorney at the Nieves Law Firm, and today I want to talk to you about DUI defenses in Alameda County. There are a couple different types of DUI defenses. The most tried and true defense: don't get a DUI. Always, if possible, I recommend call an Uber, call a Lyft, call a friend, call your mom. Anything to get home safely and without getting a DUI. Now, if you do find yourself in a certain circumstance where you have been pulled over for a suspected DUI, know that we are here for you, and there are a lot of defenses that we could use on your case. The first defense I want to tell you about is the bad stop defense. All traffic stops require an officer to have reasonable suspicion that criminal activity is afoot to pull you over. That can be anything from swerving on the road to expired tags to a busted taillight. All of those are valid reasons for an officer to pull you over. Now, if an officer pulls you over for no valid reason, and we will know because there are dash cams on their cars, that is a defense to your stop. It's a bad stop without reasonable suspicion. The next defense I want to tell you about is the no drive defense. Say, for instance, you ran out of gas or you got a flat tire, so then you pulled yourself over. Minutes later, an officer approached to render aid. They think they smell alcohol in your breath, they assume you're drunk, they assume you were driving that vehicle. You get arrested for DUI. It's not a very valid arrest because an officer has to have seen you driving. So if they had not seen you driving, they just assume you're driving. That is a defense to a DUI, the no drive defense. The next defense I want to tell you about is when you have objective signs of intoxication due to completely innocent reasons. Officers know to look for red, watery eyes, slurred speech, and swerving on the road to determine whether or not someone is intoxicated. However, these things can be caused by completely innocent reasons. You could have been crying, you could have allergies. Something could have happened in the car where the steering wheel was jerked for some reason not related to intoxication. These are all defenses to DUI. Another defense is when field sobriety tests have gone wrong. Field sobriety tests are administered on the side of the road, and they can be comprised of several different things. You get out of the car and you have to do something called a horizontal gaze nystagmus. It's when you have to follow a finger with just your eyes. You can't move your head. You might also do a finger to nose test. You might also have to do a heel to toe test where you walk a couple paces going heel to toe, heel to toe. These tests may seem simple, but oftentimes the instructions are very, very particular. And if you don't follow the instructions as specified by the officer, they may take that as a sign that you are intoxicated because of your inability to follow instructions. But say there's a language barrier. Say you don't speak the language of the officer, English is your second language. Say you're nervous around cops and you just did not perform up to the officer's standards. You weren't intoxicated, but you didn't perform very well on the test. These are defenses to DUI. Another type of defense I want to tell you about is when you have a high BAC due to a medical condition or a certain type of medication. BAC is your blood alcohol content. This is measured with a breathalyzer, either at the side of the road or a breathalyzer at the police station if you've been brought in. Now, certain types of medications can cause a high BAC even if you're not intoxicated. Asthma inhalers have a certain ethanol propellant that makes it squirt. That ethanol propellant, if exhaled into a breathalyzer, can cause a high BAC reading. A certain medical condition like acid reflux can cause a high BAC reading if you've recently burped and you had this alcohol content in your throat, in your esophagus, and you exhale it into the breathalyzer. It reads as a high BAC even if you had not recently been drinking, even if you are not over the legal limit from alcohol consumption. You can still get a high BAC reading because of this medical condition. So those are also defenses to a DUI. Another defense is bad protocol. Officers have to follow very specific protocol when it comes to pulling someone over for a suspected DUI, administering field sobriety tests, arresting someone for that DUI, and bringing them into the station. If this protocol is not strictly followed, that's a defense to your arrest as well. Say, for instance, the breathalyzer device is not properly calibrated, and so your BAC readings are not actually accurate. That's another type of defense. So you want to look out for these types of things to make sure that officers are doing their job to make sure they have accurate readings and accurate administrations of these tests for you to be convicted of a DUI. Another type of defense is out of necessity. This one's a little bit rare, but it works. It's real, and sometimes these things actually do happen. Say you're drinking at a bar and something happened at that bar that caused you to fear for your life. Say there was a shooter, or say someone had threatened you violently. And the only thing that you could do to save yourself from this danger is to get in your car and drive away. The necessity defense requires you to admit that you were drinking and you were driving, but you were only driving because of a certain reason, out of necessity to save your own life or save someone else's. That's the necessity defense. The last defense I want to explain to you is the riser defense. This one's a little bit different. The riser defense takes into consideration the way your body metabolizes alcohol. It takes into consideration the timeline of your drinking. Also takes into consideration how much you'd been drinking. So consider this. If you took a lot of shots and you got on the road and then you got pulled over, maybe the alcohol is still sitting in your stomach. Maybe the alcohol has not yet been metabolized and absorbed into your bloodstream. Maybe your BAC is actually not that high at the time of driving, but over the course of a police investigation, by the time you give a breathalyzer test, the alcohol has been metabolized into your bloodstream and your BAC is actually higher than what it was just a few minutes ago because of your metabolism. This is defense. It actually works. This is something that we would do at trial. So if you or a loved one has been arrested for a DUI, you want to go to trial, or you just want to settle the case, let us know. We're here to help. www.thenieveslawfirm.com